Hello and welcome to Nola Louise Knits. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the provisional cast on with a crochet hook. First, you're going to need your needle size that you're going to use for your project, some waste yarn that's of a similar weight to the yarn you're going to use for your project, and a crochet hook that is a similar diameter to the needle for your project. It doesn't have to be an exact match, just somewhere in the ballpark. First, you're going to take your waste yarn and you're going to make a slip knot. Then place that over your crochet hook and just pull it a little bit tighter, still leaving a bit of a looseness to that loop. Then take your working needle in your left hand and just hold on to the tail. Now we're going to cross the crochet hook on top of the working needle and then bring the yarn around behind the needle and on top of the crochet hook. Then just pull that loop through and you have a new loop on the crochet hook. Then we're just going to repeat that step. Cross the crochet hook, bring the yarn around the back of the needle and over the crochet hook, pull it through. Cross the crochet hook, bring the yarn around the back and over the crochet hook and pull it through. So I'm doing these first ones kind of loose to just get it started, but I'm going to start doing it a little more firmly so I can have a more regular tension for those cast on stitches. So I'll just show you kind of what that looks like as I go along. Okay, so now I'll show you what the cast on looks like. You can see these ones are a little loose, but I've got kind of a row of what looks like almost knit stitches, but it's kind of like a single crochet. And then I have a nice row of loops on my needle. So I'm going to cast on all of my stitches for my project, and then I'll pick back up and show you how to finish that cast on and how to start knitting your project. Okay, I've cast on a lot of stitches, so you can kind of see how that looks. I've got these nice, neat cast on stitches on my working needle with what looks like, or almost like a column of knit stitches on the bottom side of the needle. So I have 5 more to cast on, so I'm just going to show you that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now with this leftover loop on the crochet hook, I'm going to leave my working needle for a second and just wrap the yarn around the crochet hook and pull it through that loop. This is just going to make a little tail to kind of provide security for the end of my cast on, and these crochet stitches will later be able to be unzipped to take off your provisional cast on. So I'm just going to make this little tail, you can see, and then with this last loop I'm going to just bring the remainder of my working yarn through the loop just to hold that from unraveling. And that's very easy to undo. You can either just use scissors to snip it off since it's waste yarn, or just pull that leftover tail back through the loop. And then when you tug on this, these stitches will unravel and unravel along this cast on line, and it'll leave the loop of your working stitches. But really quick, I'm going to show you now just how I'm going to start knitting with my actual yarn. So I have a lace weight yarn, which is a little bit thinner than my provisional cast on yarn, but that's totally fine. So I'm just going to take, my working needle, just starting from this same edge, like I was gonna do, like I would do with any cast on, hold the tail of my working yarn and just start knitting. And that's really all there is to it. That tail should just sit there fine, but if you're worried, you could even just tie a loose knot with your provisional cast on tail, but it should stay in there fine. And I'm just gonna start knitting my pattern with the first row on top of this provisional cast on. Now when you unravel this, what you'll see is that there'll be little loops, and you probably want to do it stitch by stitch with a spare needle handy to catch those, so that you'll be able to join your provisional cast on or add a hem or whatever you were planning on doing with your project. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and happy knitting!